Good evening. Welcome to the Baltic Star. Thank you for joining us, whether live or on VOD. It's very nice to have you with us. We are a narrative gaming stream, and what we do is we entirely predictably play narrative games, any kind of narrative game, and usually those are tabletop RPGs, but sometimes we play something a little bit different, especially when there's just Ewan and me around. So, good evening, Ewan, first of all.
Good evening, Ben. Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, very
Good.
well, and much looking forward to tonight's game, because yes, something really fast. Thank you, Crit. That's exactly what we need. So tonight we're playing a fighting fantasy game book, and as Crit has cheerfully alluded to, this is a fighting fantasy game book. It was first published in 1992 by Ian Livingstone, and in the original fighting fantasy series it was number 50. And for number 50 he decided to do a throwback to book number 1 in the series, the one that launched it all, The Warlock of Firetop Mountain. Now, as I recall, when we played through Warlock of Firetop Mountain, we actually did get to the end alive.
Yes.
However, we didn't complete the necessary bits, the proper route through, and so we failed to actually achieve the end of the story, so to speak.
Yeah, we didn't have what we needed, did we? I don't think. Was it 3 keys? Something like that.
Something like that. We were missing a key or a gem or a something. I think it was keys, yes. Yeah, and we eventually found the right lockbox, but it turned out we had the wrong number of keys, and therefore we were instantly doomed, and we completely failed, of course.
Yes.
It was the first of many failures, a litany of failures, one might say. We were, in our way, starting a bit of a trend with that, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah. It set the tone nicely, I think.
Yeah. And, you know, we were not able to achieve, we still haven't actually achieved an actual fighting fantasy game book, but we did defeat a Cretan Chronicles game book, which is a closely allied type.
That is very true. It felt good after all of those defeats. It felt good, and I'm going to count it as an actual victory.
Oh yes, absolutely, and certainly. Oh no. You see, I think it does count. It was a proper game book, and we did win. It's just it wasn't technically fighting fantasy, but it was a similar style of book. It was a similar approach. It just turns out we're much better at being Greek heroes than we are at being the other things we've been, which is quite varied thanks to the nature of the books.
That's true.
Yes. So we need to begin. And this is actually the reprint of the book, the new issuing. So weirdly, you begin right at the end because that's where the rules are, rather than at the beginning, as they always used to be. As a consequence of that, we need to begin with some dice to roll our skill, stamina, and luck. So, first step, 1d6 plus 6 is skill.
Wonderful.
I've started well. That's a 6.
Not as well, but above average for a 4.
Okay, pretty solid.
6, which is a nice 10.
Then stamina, 2d6 plus 12.
Oh, yes.
Not as good. That's a 5 for a total of 17.
Something about the 4s tonight. Mine's on 8.
Okay.
It's 12. Let's change up the dice.
And luck, 1d6 plus 6.
Ooh.
That's a 7. So I suppose that
Ah.
balances the a total of 7.
Mine is a 5 on the dice.
Okay. And now I'm afraid we have to lose 4 points of our choice from that.
Oh, yes.
Now,
Right, you are.
normally this is an easy enough choice because I normally just go for stamina, but with a skill of 12 and a stamina of 17, I'm tempted to take one off skill, which I will do. So I will go for skill 11 and stamina 14 and luck of 7. That's the best I can do. Me too, Grit. That's definitely true of me too. Okay. So luck works exactly the way it always does. It costs you a luck point to try it, and you can use it in battles if you like, but you've got to use it whenever. Skill store normally won't change much, but you can theoretically take a weapon if you're offered one in the book to improve
Yeah.
it. Unlike other fighting fantasy game books, it says in this adventure you do not begin with any provisions. Though I'd say that's only true of about like a third of them, to be honest. However, we can apparently restore stamina in other ways. And none of these values can exceed their initial value except by sort of adding a new item or weapon or something like that. Okay.
Wonderful.
All good. Okay. You start your adventure with the basic tools of your trade: a fine sword, clothes suitable for travelling, a backpack to hold any treasure, and a lantern to light your way. That's really very simple. We like this.
Yep. Good stuff.
Okay. So, on that basis, get through the sort of book preamble and into the background. Okay. Let's see what it says. 10 years is not a long time in a wizard's life. Some live for over 200 years, keeping themselves alive by their own magic and potions. There is a well-known saying among wizards which goes, "You're a long time dead, so let's live instead." Some wizards even went one step further. They cast a spell on themselves so that, in the event of their being slain or assassinated, they were able to raise themselves after a predetermined time when their assailant was long gone. The wizards who chose to come back from the dead, however, were always aligned to evil, for it was dark magic that was needed to cheat death. One of those wizards was known and feared by the name of Zagor, the infamous warlock of Firetop Mountain. 10 years have passed since the day when he was killed by a brave adventurer who risked the guards and deadly traps deep inside Firetop Mountain to save Alancia from his evil magic. But killing Zagor is one thing. Keeping him dead is another. Nobody knew that Zagor had cast the raise dead spell upon himself. Otherwise, the adventurer who killed him would have sealed him inside his mountain tomb. But all that was 10 years ago. In the last 6 months, sinister events have begun to happen around Firetop Mountain. First, the top of the mountain, which was famous for its red-coloured bracken, has turned deathly black. Livestock which have grazed on and around the mountain for decades have started to die a sickening death. And recently, people have even disappeared, dragged inside the mountain, it is said, by hideous creatures of the night. Those good people who remain are terrified, for it is rumoured that Zagor has risen and is building himself a new body, bit by bit, from the unfortunate villagers of Anvil. You are an adventurer, a sword for hire, wandering through the lands. Coming to the village of Anvil, you decide to stop for a rest after your week-long march. However, as soon as you enter the village, you sense that all is not well. The villagers look frightened, and women quickly push their children indoors as you walk along the main street. You decide that the local tavern would be the best place to find out what is troubling the villagers, so you enter the Two Moons. The chatter inside dies down quickly to a low murmur, and the customers eye you as you walk up to the bar. The barman stares at you sternly, and you can see by the look in his eyes that he's a proud man trying to hide his fear. Yes? He grunts in a low voice. You tell him that you're an adventurer seeking a new quest that will end in riches and honour. He frowns, not knowing whether to trust you. Does the name Zagor mean anything to you? He asks softly, watching you closely for a reaction. Zagor, you reply confidently, was the warlock of Firetop Mountain until he was slain 10 years ago. Is the warlock of Firetop Mountain, the barman says dramatically. He's come back to life. He's building himself a new body, and he's sending his evil servants to Anvil to take back live donors. The barman seems to accept you as a friend, and quickly goes on to tell you about the doom that has befallen Anvil, thanks to Zagor. We need help, stranger, he says desperately. None of us here has the power to defeat Zagor, but maybe you do. We are poor, and cannot pay you what you deserve to take on such a task. But we do know that there are chests full of gold inside Firetop Mountain. Will you help us? By now the tavern is silent, all eyes are upon you. How can you let them down? Slowly you smile and nod your head. On one condition, you say. Name it, the barman replies. That I get a hot bath and a room for the night, you laugh. Done. Everyone in the tavern lets out a cheer, and they all gather around to slap you on the back and offer to buy you some ale. In the morning you find the barman, whose name you learn is Moose, cooking a large breakfast for you. You must set off south immediately to visit the grand wizard Yastromo. He alone can prepare you for such an adversary as Zagor. Don't even think about tackling Zagor on your own. He is stronger than ever, and his magic is deadly, Moose says earnestly. You thank him for advice and bid him farewell. Now turn to paragraph 1. Your adventure awaits. May your stamina never fail. Now turn over. Okay. So, leaving Anvil and its villagers behind, you set off east deep in thought. Firetop Mountain is only a short distance from Anvil, but to go all the way to Yastromo's tower first would mean losing many days' valuable time. How could Yastromo help? Ever since he single-handedly defeated 8 ghoulish dark elves on the edge of Darkwood Forest, the place where he built his famous tower, his reputation has grown. Wise, good, powerful, philanthropic, and many other words were used to describe the great Yastromo. Many sought his help against evil, and none were turned away. Suddenly there's a shout from behind you. You spin around to see Moose running towards you. You notice that his sword is drawn and there is a look of alarm on his face. Zagor will know of your plan, unless we can catch the 2 trackers I saw running from Anvil a few minutes ago. They must have overheard us and are running back to inform Zagor. Quick, follow me. We must catch them. He says hurriedly, still panting. He runs off into the undergrowth, shouting at you to follow him. We can do so, or we can continue to walk along the path alone.
Oh, what a first decision! Although I know what the what the heroic decision is, then.
So do I. The question is the undergrowth a kind of door?
that is the important question.
Or is continuing along the path the door? I suspect continuing along the path is continuing along the path. It's the corridor, not the door. I mean, Moose has been a good enough guy to us, right? He gave us a room for the night. He made us a lovely breakfast.
Yeah, he gave us the tip in the first place to go see what was the philanthropic wizard's name? Yastromo. My apologies.
Yeah.
I'd hate to see another barkeep get slaughtered on our channel for no reason.
Yes, that's
Through
actually a
our
very good
inaction.
point. What if he catches up with them when he's alone? Oh, yes, good point. I hadn't thought of that. I guess we're following him then, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. If you wish to follow him, turn to 341. This could be
Right.
the end of our adventure, for all we know.
Oh, please. Who wrote this one?
Ian Livingston.
Okay, so it could be the end of our adventure.
You run after moose, keeping your head down to avoid the many outstretched branches. You catch sight of something sparkling in the bushes. If you want to stop briefly to find out what it is, turn to 82, and if you don't wish to stop, turn to 267. I don't know. Thank you, Crit.
Thanks, Crit.
If it's something sparkling, it's probably not natural, is it?
No.
We don't have a lot of luck with natural things.
That's very true. That is very true. That is the rule with doors, is that if they're natural, pay no attention to them.
I'm just a bit nervous about leaving Moose to his own devices. Well, we're going to have to make a lot of these decisions. You might as well make the first one. What do you reckon?
It said briefly. Did it say briefly?
It did, yeah. Just stop briefly to find out what it is.
Stop briefly.
Stop briefly.
And hope that it is actually briefly.
And we will turn to 82.
Oh, wonderful. As is tradition with these things that are outside of actual dungeons, I really don't know how to map them out. So we're going to ad-lib it a bit and just start with some numbers and lines.
Good plan.
And see what happens.
You find a round, polished shield half buried in the dirt. You can take it and turn to 267. Well, it was your call, so you get the shield this time.
That's very kind.
Perfectly reasonable.
That number. And then on to
267.
267. We'll skip to that. Very nice.
You have to run hard to keep up with Moose. He zigzags through the undergrowth, glancing down at the ground occasionally for prints. All at once he stops and puts his arm up for you to stop running too. You hear a rustle of branches to your left, followed by a piercing howl. Will you charge into the bushes towards the noise, or stand your ground? Here's the thing. Piercing howl sounds like a natural noise to me. So I'm very tempted to stand ground.
I'm happy with that.
And Moose has stopped running. We're standing next to each other, so he's not...
Yeah, that's true. And he told us to...
Yeah, he's not in peril.
Right?
So let's stand our ground. 374.
Yeah.
Okay. My first proper decision. This will kill us, I'm sure.
So what was the number again?
374.
374. Thank you.
A dagger flies out of the bushes straight at you. If you're holding a shield, turn to 49. If you don't have a shield, turn to 196. Okay. So I'm guessing I have to roll a die to find out which of us it comes at. Because you are holding a shield.
Yeah, that seems fair.
So, odds or evens, Ewan?
I'll take odds, as I believe that is tradition.
That is a 5. So he aims at you, and you are holding a shield, which is 49.
Perfect.
Reacting swiftly, you fling your shield up to block the steel dagger, which clatters off the shield and falls harmlessly to the ground. You pick it up and then charge into the bushes, brandishing your sword. Turn to 72. You leap into the bushes, your sword cutting through the air. To your right is Moose, and in front of you are the two servants of Zagor. They crouch, daggers drawn, and growl, foamy spittle dripping from their dog-like jaws. Half dark elf and half goblin, trackers are perfect hunters and messengers. Always armed with a crossbelt of throwing daggers across their chest, they will not usually fight openly unless cornered. Suddenly they throw their daggers at you and Moose and draw their short swords, but you are ready and duck below the flying dagger. Wasting not a second more, you charge at the nearest tracker. Okay, so we have a tracker to take on. It appears that Moose is taking the other one. So,
Cool.
This tracker has skill 7, stamina 6. So, we get to attack. Okay, my skill is 11, so I've rolled a mere 5, but that takes me up to 16.
I have rolled a 10, which gives me a 20 total.
Okay, and the tracker has rolled an 8, which brings him up to 15, which means we both land hits. His stamina of 6 is suddenly 2. And we go again.
That's harsh.
And I've rolled another 5 for another 16.
Mine is better than my last one. That's an 11. Swap the dice out.
And he has rolled a 4. So both of us have hit him. He is very, very dead. If you win, turn to 306. We have definitely won.
I just realised that all my...
Okay, so 306. You pull your sword free from the tracker's chest and, looking around, see that Moose has also been victorious, despite a deep gash in his left arm. A search of the tracker's bodies reveals 6 gold pieces, each stamped with the letter Z. You agree to keep 3 each, and you also take 2 steel daggers. Not content with emptying pockets, Moose pulls the boots off the trackers and gives them a shake. A folded piece of brown-stained paper falls to the ground. "I'm not touching that smelly thing," laughs Moose. "If you want it, you can have it." So we can take the paper or leave the paper. Now, I'm going to make a sort of judgment call here. We've picked up 2 daggers, so I think we should have 1 each, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And 6 gold pieces, and apparently we split them with him. So I'm going to say we actually take 2 each, since there are 3 of us in our version of the game. Make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. 2 gold pieces.
Great. I think it's fair enough, probably. So, do we want the paper, or do we want to leave the paper on the ground? I mean, it's got to be taking the paper, hasn't it?
I don't know. I'm worried that we've done quite well so far, and we haven't been horrifically murdered by anything.
I mean, you're not
if you
wrong.
Want to pick, if you want to pick up the paper, then pick up the paper. but I would like it known that you are the one picking up the paper.
In case it's cursed, you mean?
Yeah, something along those lines.
Okay. I'm going to grab the paper. Turn to 218.
I mean, it might be really important, in which case, thank you.
The folded paper is damp with sweat and an unsavoury smell wafts up from it. Holding it gingerly by the corners, you shake out the folds. A pair of blood-red eyes are drawn on the paper. Suddenly they burst into flame and your hands start to tremble uncontrollably. You've been cursed. Deduct 2 points from your skill.
I mean, you said curse, not
I
me.
did. I think I cursed myself there
no.
somehow. Okay.
Oh, skill as well is not
You
a
drop
good
the
one
paper to the ground and the trembling stops. Moose apologises at great length, blaming himself for your misfortune. Forget it, you say reassuringly. At least Zagor doesn't know we're coming. You walk back to the path together and there bid farewell once more, then set off east alone. Turn to 161. I have deducted the stamina points from myself, so there we go.
Oh.
Sorry, skill points. To be fair, 9 is not a terrible skill to start with. It could be a lot worse.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
By midday, the sun overhead is shining brightly, and it is uncomfortably hot as you walk along the dusty path. You hear the sound of someone whistling. Then in the distance you see an old man leading a donkey. 2 large wicker baskets piled high with mushrooms are strapped to the donkey's back. As you approach the man, he comes to a halt, and, standing boldly in front of his donkey with his arms folded across his chest, he says, "I'm Dungheap Dan, the Mushroom Man. I'd rather be a poet than a man who has to hoe it." He smiles and bows, as if waiting for applause. If you want to talk with him, turn to 286, and if you'd rather ignore him and keep walking, turn to 237. Your turn. This could be a curse.
Oh, thanks, Ben. A mushroom man.
Yep, with his mushrooms.
With his mushrooms, they're not going to remove the curse this early on, are they?
I wouldn't think so. But we can talk with him or ignore him and keep walking, basically.
I certainly don't want to get double cursed this early on. Let's carry on.
Okay. We keep walking.
Very rarely do we ignore something, but
it's true.
I'm trying to learn lessons.
Fair enough. 237. Half an hour later, you come to a place where the path splits. If you want to keep walking east towards Firetop Mountain, turn to 19. If you'd rather turn south towards Darkwood Forest and Yastromo's Tower, turn to 120. So, for me, I still think Moose has not sold us wrong so far.
You're happy to go see the philanthropic, friendly, well spoke of wizard.
He identified the trackers. He helped us fight them. He was right about the smelly bit of paper. He gave us breakfast, and I'm positively disposed to people who make me breakfast.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to argue with getting some advice from somebody.
Okay, so Yastromo's Tower, turn to 120.
As we quite often find with these books, information is sometimes very important.
It can be.
Not all the time, but sometimes.
An hour or so later, you hear a cry for help coming from a wood in the middle of the scrubland to your right. We can investigate or keep walking. It's my turn to decide, isn't it? I want to investigate because it's the heroic thing to do.
It is. It is. More heroic than stopping to chat with a mushroom seller.
It certainly is more heroic than that, yes. And, we did fail one of these books by dying of cowardice.
That is very true. If you missed that one, it was amusing.
It was funny and brief.
Mm.
Okay, let's investigate. Turn to 318.
Let's do it.
I mean, any of these decisions could kill us, of course, but
That's true. That's true. It's not just the ones that we think could kill us, as it turns out.
you soon come upon a man who is lying stripped to the waist and staked out on the ground. Somebody has spread honey over his chest and face, and he's being stung by hundreds of red ants that are crawling all over him.
Ugh.
You hasten to cut him free, then roll him in the dirt to get the ants off him. Although he's in great pain from the angry red bite marks that cover his body, he is not in mortal danger. Bandits ambushed me while I was riding along the path. Before taking off with my horse, they decided to make me pay for killing their leader in the fight. Thanks to you, their plan has failed. Here, take this as a reward, stranger. It's a ring of invisibility. I suppose I should have used it to hide from the bandits. It's a very old ring and only has one more charge left. Off you go now, don't worry about me. As soon as my horse is left alone for even a second by those infernal bandits, he'll come galloping back to me. After making sure the man is fit enough to be left on his own, you head south along the path. Turn to 250. Okay, ring of invisibility we have.
Nice.
I have no idea how that will actually play out in practice, but because it may be that we'll need to pretend that we have two, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I do know what you mean. That makes sense.
But only one charge. Okay. The rest of the day passes without incident. And as the light starts to fade, you begin to think about finding a place to sleep for the night. You know the dwarf village of Stonebridge is not far away, although you do wonder whether you'll be able to reach it before nightfall. Will you find somewhere to sleep while it's still light, or keep walking towards Stonebridge? Your turn.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Ben. Thank you very much. I'm trying to think back on previous experiences because I know we've had this before where we've thought, do we push on and risk it? See if we can get a little further.
So we can basically either make camp somewhere on the road or make it towards Stonebridge, hopefully. But we might get there after dark.
I'm feeling reserved tonight. Let's find somewhere whilst it's still light.
Okay. Camp. That's 329. You leave the path and wander into the undergrowth. Eventually you come across the ruin of a wooden hut which looks as if it was burnt down years ago. Ivy covers what's left of the walls and floor, and the people who once lived here have long since moved on. You decide to poke around the floor of the hut with your sword. After several stabs into the ivy, you hear a dull clunk as your sword makes contact with something metallic. You cut away the ivy and uncover an iron ring which is attached to a trapdoor. Lifting it up makes a loud creaking noise, and as you peer into the gloom, you hear insects and small creatures fluttering and scurrying below. On the top step of the stairs leading down, you see a candle and flint. You soon have the candle lit and climb down into the darkness. You find yourself standing in a small cellar with just enough headroom to stand up in. Cobwebs are everywhere. There are 2 clay pots on a shelf, and a wooden box lies under a rickety old table. Despite the profusion of insect life and small rodents, it seems to be a safe enough place in which to spend the night. So, do we go to sleep here, examine the clay pots, examine the wooden box, or go somewhere else to sleep? I don't know. What do you think? We've got. I'm tempted to examine everything in the room, basically.
Yeah.
And I know one of them's likely to be horrible.
Yeah, but probably not going to kill us.
Probably not.
Probably. This early on, maybe.
So, should we start with the pots or the box, do you reckon? Because
it might make a difference, I suppose.
yeah. I suppose I'm tempted to start with the pots in case we get startled by what's in the box and break the pots.
That's true. You can see what's in the pots coming, presumably. To some
I would
extent.
guess, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So, examine the clay pots. 386.
Wonderful. I won't jot this one down. This feels like a little filler in the room.
Okay, the first pot is empty, but the second contains a large iron key with the number 142 stamped on its barrel.
Ooh.
You decide to keep the key and make a mental note of the number. Okay.
I see.
All right. There's a key.
When it says mental note, I'm writing it down.
Same here.
Because, I've got other stuff going on.
If you've not done so already, you may now examine the wooden box, or go to sleep, or find the other 3 options, basically. So are we going to open the box as well?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because, sometimes one of them's lucky and one of them's unlucky, if you know what I mean. But
yeah.
But let's do it. I mean, as you say, it's relatively early, and this is a place no one's been for years and doesn't seem very likely to be dangerous.
No.
You prise the lid off the box with the tip of your sword, and you discover a small leather pouch inside. The pouch contains a small wooden ball and a small wooden brick. You decide to keep them and put them in your pocket. Okay. Wooden ball and brick. I have no idea what that's for. But we have a wooden ball and brick. So we can now choose to go to sleep, or rather find somewhere else to sleep. This has been a lucky place for us, right? And
well, it has been. It feels like it's giving us an out, though. Like, are you sure you want to do that?
It does feel like that, doesn't it?
But it has only been the first time, so I don't know.
But it did tell us, didn't it, that it looked like a safe place to sleep.
Yeah, that's true, and it has been good to us so far.
And the trapdoor had been unused for ages, so
yes,
I suspect it's a place most people don't know about.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Let's give it a go. We will go to sleep. Turn to 95. Okay. This could definitely kill us. Okay. You make a bed out of ivy tendrils covered with an old sack. After eating some bread and cheese, you close the trapdoor and settle down to sleep. In the pitch-black darkness, you can hear scratching noises as the insects come out of hiding, but soon you are fast asleep. In the morning, you wake to the sound of footsteps crossing the floor above you. You grope slowly for your sword, trying not to make a sound. Test your luck.
Uh,
Ah, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining us, IMT.
hey, IMT. You've just joined us as we found somewhere to sleep. The book asked us if we were sure we wanted to sleep there, gave us the opportunity to find somewhere else. And we've been well rested, I think, Ben, but woken in the morning by the sounds of feet above us and now have to test our luck, which is quite often a prelude to you are dead. Thank you for playing.
Okay, so realistically, I think only one of us can test our luck. And realistically, I feel it should be you.
Thanks, Ben. Is that 2d6 under or equal to my luck skill score? Is that right? Right.
Yep.
Let's roll low then. It's good enough. It's an 8. My luck was 9. So I passed, but my luck is now 8 because I tested it, right?
Yes. Okay. So we are lucky. Yeah, well, it's good that you were doing that because my luck is 7. So it's better that yours takes the hit, frankly.
Yes. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Test your luck. If you're lucky, turn to 352. 352 it is. Yeah. This is the first luck test we've had to do, actually. Mind you, we're still, I suppose, in Act 1, aren't we?
Yeah, we haven't yet made it to our destination. We're seeking out some help before we get to Firetop Mountain.
Yes, we are doing a return to Firetop Mountain, and we're so far not really going anywhere near Firetop Mountain.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It'll come.
You feel like a
It's gonna
trapped
die.
animal with the blood pumping through your veins until your hand encounters the reassuring cold steel of your sword. At any moment you expect the trapdoor to be thrown open. You can hear muffled voices, but they do not sound human. The sound of a horn suddenly blasts out and the creatures above you run off. You wait 5 minutes before slowly raising the trapdoor. Peering out, you cannot see a living soul. You climb out of the cellar, make your way back to the path, and head south. Turn to 238.
Well, that sounds good. I like it.
So far, so good. A brisk 3-hour march brings you to the outskirts of Stonebridge. You walk into the village and are met by 2 dwarfs. News travels fast in Alancia, for one of them says, "Welcome, stranger, we've been expecting you." Seeing your puzzled look, he continues, "A messenger bird brought us the news from Anvil, and we wish to help you so that you can meet Yaztromo. It is your good fortune that you came to visit us, because Yaztromo is not at his tower at present. He has gone to the town of Cad, which is far to the west of Stonebridge, down the Red River. Plague has broken out there, and he has gone to help, but we're not sure if this is of Zagor's doing. We have a fast sailing boat that can get you there in half a day. It is manned and ready to sail immediately. Come now, follow us, we have no time to lose." You follow the 2 dwarfs through the village to the banks of the Red River, where a strange-looking sailing vessel is moored. It is about 10 metres long and is narrow, but with canvassed racks sticking out on both sides. A 5-metre pole pokes threateningly out of the bow, doubtless a ramming weapon. The mast is tall and curved, somewhat resembling an enlarged longbow. The massive sails flap noisily in the wind, waiting for someone to harness their power. 9 men stand in line before the boat. Their faces brown and lined, as all seasoned sailors' faces are. The dwarf points to the men and says, "These men are good friends of the dwarfs of Stonebridge. They will take you to Cad." Pointing at the shortest man, who's standing at the head of the line, he continues, "This is Sack. He's in charge. The helmsman's name is Laurie. The others are Phil, Ian, Stoy, Crook, Mac, Neil, and Drew. You meet the crew and climb aboard. The vessel feels very unstable being so narrow and starts to rock from side to side. "We're out of here," shouts Laurie, jumping aboard. The two dwarfs untie the boat as the rest of the crew also jumps on board. They rush about their various tasks, pulling on ropes, balancing the boat, trimming the huge sails. The boat pulls away immediately, ploughing through the water at an alarming rate. Ahead, you notice a rowing boat, lying upside down and bobbing along downstream. An orc is clinging to the upturned hull. If you want to tell Laurie to slow the boat in order to pick up the orc, turn to 398. If you'd rather sail on, 136. Okay. I feel it's your turn.
I'm not so sure it is, Ben. I think it might be, but I'm not so sure it is. It feels like a trap.
I mean, I'm tempted to say an orc clinging to the upturned hull of a boat that's sinking is a poor trap.
Well, okay. Then let's do the heroic thing.
Yeah, it is sort of more heroic, is it? Yeah.
It is indeed.
And it is our way to be heroic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or try to be.
We'll tell Laurie to slow the boat in order to pick up the orc. Turn to 398. This is where we die. Clearly, this is how we die.
I did say it sounded like a trap. You said it was a poor one. I'd like that known now.
The crew quickly brings down the sails and the boat glides to a halt alongside the upturned rowing boat. And Drew throws a rope to the orc, but the orc turns and dives into the river. "Ambush!" cries Phil. Looking behind you, you see two orc war canoes that had been hidden beneath the branches of trees along the river coming towards you. A hail of arrows is loosed at your boat. Roll one die and reduce your crew, 10 men including yourself, by this number. Okay, one die.
Oh. I mean, it's such a bad trap.
It is.
That nobody thinks it's a trap. And it turns out to be really good.
At least I rolled a 1 for the die.
That is good. So there's one crew member.
So one crew member down. We now have 9 crew. Okay. Stoy clutches at an arrow that's gone right through his neck and gurgles a dying breath and slumps forward onto the deck, his legs twitching in spasms. Ignoring him, the remainder of the crew scrambles to hoist the sails as the war canoes draw closer. Test your luck. Lucky or unlucky? It's my turn to test luck, isn't it?
It is. I am still. Are we equally lucky now?
I don't know, but I've done okay. So I rolled a 5. My luck is 7, so it goes down to 6. So so we're good enough. So we are lucky. Turn to 77. With her sails hoisted and trimmed, the boat is quickly underway, and the war canoes are soon left far behind. "No more stops until Cad," snarls Laurie, pulling hard at the helm. Feeling guilty, you sit alone at the rack, watching the vivid landscape speed by. Test your luck. Oh God, again? Your turn.
Oh, right. Oh, that's good. That's a 3, which is way under my luck.
Excellent.
Of 8, which is now 7.
If we're lucky, turn to 40. A white dove circles, then lands on the deck, and you notice that a small pouch is attached to its leg. The bird appears to be unconcerned as you untie the pouch from its leg. Inside you find a message from Moose. Zagor has sent a doppelganger, a ghost-like impostor of Yestromo, to trap you when you reach Cad. But as you know, doppelgangers always have green eyes, and Yestromo's eyes are blue. Beware. Wondering how Zagor has found out about your mission, you throw the message into the river. The dove flies off as the boat continues its rapid journey downstream. Okay, so doppelgangers. There's a lot of information in this one.
There is. Doppelgangers have green eyes.
Yeah.
Yes, Tromos are blue.
Okay. There we go.
Interesting.
As the boat continues its rapid journey downstream, turn to 11. As the morning wears on, dark clouds appear overhead and the wind quickly picks up. The unstable boat is caught by a sudden gust and tilts disconcertingly over to one side. If the crew consists of 5 or fewer crew members, turn to 54. If there are more than 5, turn to 312. We currently have 9. Okay?
Yeah,
so
it's a good roll, Ben.
It was a good roll to win that one. So if there are more than 5, we turn to 312. The crew react by easing the sails and balancing the boat quickly, and without undue effort, their long experience making the task look easy. The boat continues its speedy voyage downriver, until it at last glides to a halt at a jetty on the riverbank, where a narrow tributary from the north joins the river. You jump off the boat and thank the crew. As they turn the boat around to sail back upriver, you approach the people standing on the jetty. There are quite a number milling around, most of them poor and dressed in tattered clothing. They are carrying small bundles and sacks, and all appear sad and downcast. You start a conversation with a tall man wearing a black beard, and learn that he is waiting for a boat to take him upriver to Silverton, so as to escape the plague which is devastating Cad. You ask him if he knows of the whereabouts of Yestromo. He replies that he last saw the wizard in the town square, mixing potions to give to sick people. The man tells you that if you follow the narrow tributary north for a short distance, you will come to Cad. Turn to 182. You soon arrive at the outskirts of the town, and all about you sense an atmosphere of despair. The occasional person you meet looks either ill or scared, and there is a slight whiff of decay in the air. A cart track runs from the tributary to the town gates, and you see an old man walking along it towards you. He is dressed in long, flowing scarlet robes, and his hair and beard are long and white. From 20 metres away he calls out to you, saying, "Welcome, stranger. I am Yestromo, the wizard you are seeking, I believe." On reaching you, he puts out his hand in greeting. His face is suddenly lit up by the sun as a cloud passes by, and his green eyes sparkle. If you wish to shake his hand, turn to 8, and if you prefer not to, turn to 159.
What do you think, Ben?
Moose has not set us wrong so far.
No, most definitely not.
We like Moose. Moose is our man. We are not going to shake the doppelganger's hands.
No.
We turn to 159.
Good call.
You sense danger. Something is not as it should be. The old man is being too friendly, not the way grumpy old Yestromo behaves at all. Suddenly you have it. His eyes are green, whereas Yestromo's eyes are blue. The impostor in front of you must be a doppelganger, a ghost-like assassin sent to slay you. You must pierce its ethereal heart with your sword before its flesh touches yours, or you will be doomed to an immaterial existence in a twilight world. To resolve this combat, roll dice as normal but do not deduct stamina points. The winner of an attack round rolls both dice again. Okay. If a double is rolled, then either the doppelganger's heart is pierced or it touches your flesh, depending on who won. Okay, so...
Yep. First to roll a double after landing a hit.
After landing a hit. All right. Now, I should point out that after it gives us the stats, which are Doppelganger, Skill 9, Stamina 0, obviously, it says, if you win, turn to 316. So if we fail this, we're done.
Right.
And he has Skill 9.
Death. Okay.
So there's no if you lose it or anything. And my skill is currently 9 because I'm cursed.
I'm minus 10, so...
right.
There's a slight edge, but not much of one.
Okay, well, it's not bad. I rolled a 9, so...
Ooh, nice.
That gives me a total of 18.
I rolled a 7 for a total of 17.
Okay. And he has rolled a 9 for a total of 18. So, he's won the attack round against you, and he's tied with me. So the question becomes which of us he was lunging for.
Yeah.
You did say you'd rather be odds, didn't you?
I did. I'm quite odd.
Okie dokie. And that is a 4. So he went for me and missed. But I didn't land a hit on him either. So we go again.
That's another 7. Consistent.
That's an 8 for me. A total of 17.
Mine is the same.
And this time he's rolled a 6 for a total of 15. So each of us gets to roll 2d6 and we're looking for a double. I got a 3 and a 2.
I got a 4 and a 1.
Ah, damn it. We go again. This is lethal, this combat.
It's quite a bit of tension. Ooh, that's good.
I'm afraid I got a 6.
Mine's an 11.
Oh, well done.
Sorry, for a 21.
And he has a 2.
Ooh.
For a total of 11. So that means we both get to roll again to see if we get a double.
Yeah. Oh, no. 4 and a 2.
4 and a 5. Okay.
We've got 2 4s between us.
Yeah. I'm not sure it counts that way.
No, probably not.
Okay. I got a 7, total of 16.
Well, mine is a 6 for a total of 16.
And he got a 4 for a total of 13. So we get 2 more goes at the double.
Oh.
6 and a 1.
I got a 6 and a 6.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, brilliant. Well done.
That's quite nerve-wracking.
This is a really lethal combat for this early in the book.
Yes.
Yeah. So we did win. Turn to 316. Well done. That was awful as a fight. I did not enjoy that mechanic.
Well, it's 2 lots of luck, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the problem. And not luck, the game mechanic. Luck, the actual...
Mr. Livingston, just for your notes, that one was scary. Okay. So, the doppelganger screams, then disintegrates and drifts away like smoke on the wind. Which, as they do. You sheathe your sword and breathe a deep sigh of relief. You walk quickly into town and make straight for the town square, where you find a crowd of people huddled around a lone figure, an old man with long white hair and a white beard, and wearing scarlet robes. Nostromo, you call out his name, and are able to hear his stern reply above the noise of the crowd. Who in the world wants me now at a time like this? You're so reassured by his grumpy tone that it almost brings a smile to your face, except for the fact that he's surrounded by very sick townsfolk. You tell him your name and ask him to spare you a few minutes to help you prepare for your coming ordeal with Zagor. Zagor, he shouts, if I hear another person utter that infernal warlock's name once more, I'll turn them into toads. Nostromo waves his arms around and indulges you in some unwizardly cursing, until finally he calms down and says, Now, my good people of Cad, pass this potion of mine among you, and you'll soon be fit as firefoxes. I must go and see to this young whippersnapper who's just barged in unannounced. You walk away from the crowd with Nostromo, telling him of your quest and asking for his help. Well, as you can see, my help is needed here, so I'm unable to accompany you. You'll have to face Zagor alone, and since he's stronger now than he was 10 years ago, you will need to call upon superhuman forces to combat his extraordinary magical powers. You must find the elementals. Only the elementals can save you from certain death when facing Zagor. Their material form is that of dragon's teeth cast in gold, each stamped with a number. Each tooth has a special power, but you must learn the magic word that releases their elemental powers. Then it will simply be a matter of throwing the teeth on the floor in order to activate them. Curiously enough, you will find the dragon's teeth inside the labyrinths of Firetop Mountain. It is part of the price for invoking the Raise Dead spell that its user must offer the chance of his own demise. But as you would expect, Zagor has hidden the dragon's teeth carefully. You'll need at least 2, but the more the merrier, as they say. Now I must return to my patients. Nostromo gives you a hearty slap on the back, then returns to the sick people of Cad. He stops for a moment, looks back at you and says, Go and see Zoot Zimmer in Hobnail Street. He's got a giant eagle that could fly you to Firetop Mountain. And it might be worth paying a visit to Deep Sea Dowland's store in Pudding Street. He's got some useful items in there. Here's some gold to spend. Nostromo hurls a leather pouch in your direction, then turns to his ailing townsfolk without waiting for you to thank him. And that's where we'll take our break.
Ooh,
It seems like a sort of a good moment, doesn't it, really?
Yeah. Who are we seeing? Sorry, Ben? Zimmer?
Yeah, we have to go and see Zimmer in Hobnail Street, who has the giant eagle, and Dowland's store in Pudding Street.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Very good.
That's excellent. Right. We will take a brief break, and then we will resume in just 5 or 10 minutes for a little bit more return to Firetop Mountain. Have no idea how long we'll live and whether or not we'll end up finishing tonight, because we could die at the very next paragraph. Who knows? But
And as such, be finished.
Yes. But we'll be back in a little bit for a bit more Firetop Mountain tonight. So thank you for joining us, and we'll catch up with you in just a moment. And we're back. Thank you very much for sticking with us or for fast forwarding through that section on the VOD, which I suppose is also sticking with us. So thank you. We have just got a ridiculously complicated set of instructions from Yastromo, the friendly wizard who is, on this occasion, not a doppelganger who wants to kill us. And he's told us that we need dragon's teeth and magic words, and then we need to throw them on the ground. We need at least 2 teeth, apparently. Which sounds to me like it's an achievable goal in the sense there might be 3 or 4 and we only have to find 2 of them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
more,
just possible.
more so than the was it 3 keys last time that we needed to open the chest?
And you needed all of them. Yes.
Yeah, that feels like you need exactly 3 keys.
Yeah.
No more, no less.
Yes.
Yeah.
So hopefully. Okay. So you set off without further delay, heading for Pudding Street. You find Deep Sea's store at the end of a row of shops. Sitting outside the shop is a small boy who's playing with some wooden bricks. If you want to talk to him, 2:33. If you'd rather enter the store without delay, 3:45.
Straight off with the decision.
Yeah, well, we do actually have a wooden ball and brick. And he has wooden bricks. So I'm wondering if there's a thing where we can give him a brick and get some information or something.
That would make perfect sense. I like it. Plus, I don't know. It depends. Does he have green eyes?
It does not say.
Oh. I think you're right there. I think that's a good choice.
Well, let's give it a shot. We'll turn to 2:33, and if he kills us, he kills us. If we get killed for just talking to a small boy in a friendly town, then
there's no hope for us.
None at all. You say hello to the little boy, but he doesn't look up from his toys. If you're looking for Deep Sea, he's not here, the boy says sulkily. But if you give me a wooden brick for my set, I'll go and fetch him. You're amazed by the boy's cheek and feel like clipping him round the ear. If you have a wooden brick and are willing to give it to the boy, turn to 116. If you don't have a wooden brick or don't wish to give it to him, turn to 44. We have a wooden brick. And I'm tempted to say we give it to him and get his help.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. We have it. He would like it.
Yeah.
We also want...
I mean, it's entirely possible that later on we're going to need a wooden brick to prop open a door so the dungeon doesn't kill us. But, you know, it seems too convenient that he's desperate for a wooden brick and we have one.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever come across a situation yet, have we, in the books where we needed something but we'd already used it on something else.
Not that I can remember. Not unless you count sort of general things like gold or potions. But
yeah, nothing that sticks out as an instant death, certainly.
No. All right. So we will cross out the brick and give it to the boy. Have a wooden brick, give it to the boy. 116. The boy's face lights up when you give him the wooden brick. He jumps up and runs off, returning in a few minutes with a rather tubby old man who's chewing on a chicken leg. He's wearing a white apron and seems to be a jolly old soul. Shop's closed this afternoon, he says with a smile. But seeing as you gave a present to Deep Sea Junior here, I don't mind opening up specially for you. He opens the door and you follow him into the rather dingy shop. Obviously, many of the objects have stood here for years, as they are thickly coated with dust. There's a stuffed bear, some juggling clubs, hoops, large vases, shields, lanterns, boxes, carvings, statues, paintings, bottles, urns, jars, books, maps, clocks, wigs, games, boots, and hanks of different coloured rope. Excuse the mess, says Deep Sea. I must get around to clearing the place up one day. But people usually find what they're after in Deep Sea's store, that they do. The King of String, they call me. Now, how much have you got to spend, and what do you want? You open your Stromo's pouch and empty the contents onto the countertop. You count out 15 gold pieces, and you decide to keep back 5 and spend 10. You ask what might be useful for dungeon exploration, and Deep Sea replies, here's my list of equipment for that kind of foolhardiness. Everything costs 2 gold pieces. Choose what you like.
Ooh, a shopping list.
Yeah. So, he shows you a slate on which the following items are listed in chalk. We can choose 5 items and hand over 10 gold pieces. Okay. So the choices we have are lantern, rope, hammer and iron spikes, garlic, mirror, axe, water bottle, magnifying glass, quill ink and paper, silver dagger, leather gloves, and healing balm. So, if I remember from our introduction, we already have lanterns, don't we?
We do, yep.
So we don't need them. So rope, hammer and iron spikes, that sounds really useful for climbing things. Garlic and mirror sounds particularly handy for dealing with vampires.
Yes.
Axe and water bottle, magnifying glass, quill ink and paper, silver dagger, leather gloves, healing balm. Yeah. Do you think the fact that there's garlic and mirror listed here means there is a vampire?
It's tough, isn't it? Is that it? Wait, are they one item?
No, 2 items.
Because if it's one item, I would say yes, definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm tempted to say, if there's a vampire, there's going to come a point where it's going to say, the vampire attacks you. Yes, maybe we needed to make garlic bread. The vampire attacks you, do you have any garlic? Kind of thing. So maybe the garlic would be more useful than the mirror. Maybe.
See, I'm more reserved. I'd say that is garlic gonna help us in a vampire fight?
I don't know.
Based on the lore of this book, who knows?
Yeah.
But could a mirror be used for other things?
Yes, it could. It absolutely
Potentially.
could.
I mean, garlic could as well, to be fair, as in to make garlic bread. That could totally work.
Yep.
I don't know. It's so tough. But I think something for climbing, something for
so
vampires.
Hammer and iron spikes, we think. Yep. We'll have that.
Yeah.
That's one set. So
cool.
So we can have that for 2 gold. Great. Quill ink and paper?
I'm not overly fussed about quill ink and paper.
Magnifying glass seems plausible.
Seems quite useful.
A water bottle. It didn't specify we had a water bottle, did it, at the beginning? So maybe we haven't.
No. I always like some rope. Rope's always a good
Rope
choice.
is good, yes. Let's do rope.
10 feet of
if we're adventuring,
rope,
there's no 10-foot pole, sadly.
No.
Okay. Silver dagger. That could be useful, couldn't it?
We did get a dagger each, but it could be useful.
We did.
We didn't get silver daggers.
They were steel, weren't they? Or
Mm,
leather gloves might be useful.
leather gloves does sound handy.
Yeah. Alternatively, it's axe, water bottle, magnifying glass, quill ink and paper, silver dagger, leather gloves, or healing balm.
Again, an axe could come in really handy, but I don't know. We've got a sword and a dagger each, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
Do we need?
Okay. Then we've got two things already we've picked. We need three more, don't we? So,
Yeah.
because they seem a bit out of place, I'm tempted by magnifying glass and leather gloves.
Yeah. I mean, they seem. The quilling and paper seems too out of place, but too out of place to be useful.
Yeah.
Those are sort of like on the fringe. They're like the fringe things that could come in really handy, I think.
Yes. So we
I
happy
tend
with
to
leather gloves?
agree. Yeah,
Let's do
yeah.
leather gloves. Magnifying glass? And do we want the healing balm?
Mm,
Because that might be a restore stamina kind of thing.
it might be. I'm stuck between the magnifying glass, the healing balm, and the mirror.
Mirror, yes, the mirror is potentially useful.
Or garlic, if you think garlic's better.
Well, no, I suspect mirror is probably more useful than magnifying glass, isn't it?
Yeah, but they are different.
They are
I
different,
would
yes.
say yes. Unless we want to start a fire. Oh, you could start a fire with a mirror.
To be fair, we have a
Maybe.
lantern, so.
So, yeah, that's
um,
true. That's true.
okay, two more to get. So, how about the mirror and dagger or healing balm?
Yeah. Have we taken a hit yet?
No.
I haven't. But that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It might mean it's more likely to happen very shortly.
Of course. And we have been in a few fights, including one truly terrifying, die instantly fight.
Yeah, that's true. Although I doubt that healing bomb would have helped us in that particular fight.
I suspect not, no.
There have been quite a few, like you say.
Um,
Do you want to go mirror and healing bomb then, or
yeah, okay. So we've
dagger?
got hammer and iron spikes, rope, leather gloves, mirror, and healing balm. That's reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay. All good. Okay. Hand over the 10 gold pieces. He thanks you for the custom, and you leave the store with directions on how to find Zoot Zimmer. Turn to 309.
Wonderful.
You find Hobnail Street without much difficulty. Your knock on the door of number 36 is answered by a tall, thin man whose ears are slightly pointed and who is wearing bright red trousers. "Hello," he says in a slow, calm voice. "My name is Zoot Zimmer, and you must be the person who wants to get to Firetop Mountain in a hurry. I can see by your expression that you're wondering how I know that. Well, I heard you talking to Yastromo. I've got rather good hearing, you see. I'm a half-elf. Please come in." You follow Zoot into his house, the rooms of which are decorated to resemble a forest. All the walls have trees, bushes, plants, small animals and insects painted all over them from floor to ceiling, and all in incredible detail, giving a very realistic effect. "It's the elf in me," laughs Zoot. "My mother was from the Vale of Willow. She lived with me here until she died of the plague. The decorations made her feel at home. She never did like living in a town." His face suddenly loses its happiness and a deep frown takes over. "Would you like some of my special herbal tea before we set off?" Zoot asks. Would you like some tea? Or decline his offer?
Well,
I mean, he seems friendly, right?
yeah,
And Yastromo literally sent us to him for help, so...
that's true. That's true. The real Yaztromo, not the
Not the
doppelganger.
doppelganger, yes. You happy to drink some tea?
Yeah, yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. Yes, we will have some tea to drink. Turn to
Hopefully, it's
230.
some luck restoring tea. Would be
That would
really
be
good right
handy,
about now.
yeah. 213. The green tea has a distinctive peppermint flavour and a warm glow runs through your body. It also has secret healing properties. Regain 2 stamina points. Sadly,
Oh,
no use to me. I'm at my maximum.
yeah. But still, very nice of them.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Okay. After drinking up your tea, you follow Zoot into a courtyard at the back of the house. You watch him crane his neck into the sky and let out a high-pitched whistle. Moments later, you make out a speck in the sky. It grows bigger as it glides down effortlessly towards you. It is a huge, beautiful eagle, its feathers magnificent shades of golden brown. With its wings still outstretched, it lands unconcernedly in the courtyard. Turn to 71. The giant eagle appears to be completely unperturbed when Zoot fixes a harness and a 2-man saddle across its back. 3-man saddle in this case. When he's finished the job, Zoot turns to you and says, "Don't even think about offering me payment for this trip. I just want my mother to be avenged, as I'm convinced that this terrible plague, which is destroying Cad, is of Zagor's doing. Come on, climb aboard." You do as Zoot asks, and with a flutter of its massive wings, the eagle carries you high into the sky. Cad is soon left behind, and it becomes just another small feature of the landscape beneath you. The sensation of flying is exhilarating, and for a moment you forget the dangerous task that awaits you. Zoot steers the great bird northeastwards, high above the pagan plains. For half an hour you see no other creatures in the sky, but then your luck runs out. Zoot suddenly points towards the distant horizon, where another flying creature is coming into view. We can instruct him to land, or order him to fly on towards Firetop Mountain.
Fight or not fight, I think, is
Yeah.
the choice here. Maybe not.
No, it's a fair question. How about we order him to land and see if we can avoid the fight? Is that right? Is that the right way around, do you think?
I think that's the right round.
Okay. So if we tell him to land, we turn to 240. Okay. The big bird glides down to earth and lands on top of a large boulder that stands alone on the open plain. Meanwhile, the flying creature passes by overhead, seemingly not interested in what is happening on the ground. After 5 minutes, you judge it safe to continue and recommence your flight to Firetop Mountain. Turn to 166.
Although that could have been... No. Maybe not. I was thinking Dragon's Teeth, but...
I think those are hidden in the dungeon. Well, according to
Yeah,
Yasrona.
that was what was said, wasn't it? So, yes. Hopefully.
It is late in the afternoon when Firetop Mountain at last comes into view. Its former fiery red peak now a deathly black. You tell Zoot to make the eagle land as close as possible to the cave entrance which lies at the foot of the south face of the mountain. The giant bird glides down and lands in a clearing. From the ground, Firetop Mountain looks menacing. The steep face in front of you looks as if it has been savaged by the claws of some gargantuan beast. Across the clearing is the dark cave entrance that you hope will lead you to Zagor. Few words are spoken, as Zoot holds out his hand to bid you farewell. Soon he is in the air again, turning west for Cad. You walk up to the cave entrance and peer into the gloom. At the back of the cave there is a tunnel which is lit by burning torches. The walls of the cave are dripping with water, and there are stagnant pools on the floor. The air is cold and dank. You hear the sound of tiny feet scurrying across the floor. You take a deep breath, enter the cave, and walk on into a tunnel, soon coming to a junction. And we can turn left or turn right.
We have no information on this at all, do we? Do you want to... I suppose maybe our last play of Firetop Mountain. but other than that...
I
many,
can't
many
remember
moons ago.
if this was our experience when we went in last time, can you?
No.
I have a vague feeling that if we go right, we get to murder a completely innocent group of goblins.
I'm unsure as to whether you're suggesting that as a good idea or a bad idea, if I'm honest.
I'll tell you what, let's roll a die for it. Because
right or left? Say, of course, we could always...
Okay. So right, left or right in that order. 1, 2 or 3 is left.
Cool.
It's a 4, so we go right apparently. Okay. We turn to 140. The tunnel soon ends at a wooden door which looks as if it was boarded up many years ago. You listen at the door but can hear nothing. You're just on the point of turning around and walking back to the junction when you catch sight of a bottle tucked away in the corner of the tunnel by the wooden door. On picking it up, you see that it's made of dark blue glass and is stoppered. There's a metallic object inside which rattles when you handle the bottle. You uncork the bottle, but the metal object will not come out through the narrow neck. We can break the bottle or put it back on the floor and walk back past the junction and go on down the tunnel. Now, here's my question. Golden dragon teeth, cast out of metal and numbered, are metallic.
They are.
Now that we're actually inside the mountain, I kind of don't feel we can turn our back on anything that might be a magic word or a bit of metal.
Yeah, because we need those.
We do need those things. We need magic words 2. And we need dragon's teeth. Golden dragon's teeth.
Well then, I agree. Let's...
The problem is this will probably be our doom, won't it? But
I mean, it's very. I guess it depends on how big the dungeon in the mountain is. It's
Yeah.
very early, but there are at least two out there. So
Let's take the chance. I mean, we've got some healing balm.
yeah, that's true, and we've yet to take any damage.
That's true. Despite the peril, yet to take any actual damage. We will
Excuse me.
break the
Yeah,
bottle and turn to 321.
yeah, sure.
And what horrors it will unleash upon us, we will find out. The noise of breaking glass echoes down the tunnel, and you grip your sword in case the noise attracts the attention of someone you do not want to meet. On the floor, you find a small brass egg. You put it in your pocket, then walk back past the junction and march on down the tunnel. Brass egg.
Mm.
Okay.
I should have left more space for inventory stuff. We've got loads of stuff with us now.
Yeah, an insane amount. Also, I've kind of mixed up my inventory with like information. So in my inventory, it's got doppelganger green eyes. I should
I
probably
mean, I suppose you could have picked them up if you wanted to.
I should probably cross that out on the basis that A, we've already used it, and B, it's not technically inventory. There's not going to come a point where they say, do you have in your possession a doppelganger with green eyes?
With green eyes. Yeah, maybe. Probably not.
Okay. We turn to 281. Don't know what use a brass egg will be, but, you know, it's a thing.
Yeah.
You soon arrive at a stretch of the tunnel where it curves to the right, and you come across a short humanoid skeleton propped up in a recess in the wall. The skeleton is wearing leather armour which is dusty and cracked. There are cobwebs over its face and its jaw hangs open. It must have stood here undisturbed for years. You walk on round the corner and see 3 doors in a row along the left-hand wall. All 3 doors are heavily padlocked and iron bars are bolted across them. They do not appear to have been opened for years. You soon come to a junction. Looking left, you see that in a further 10 metres the tunnel ends at a wall. You turn right and come to another junction. We can turn left or keep going straight on. I feel weird about walking past the doors and leaving them unopened.
Yeah, that's very odd.
It's not who we are. We're the people who open doors.
What feels more weird, is that it tells you that the tunnel ends before you decide to take it. Because we've quite often had tunnels end on us whilst playing through the numerous fighting fantasy books that we've done. But normally, we'll choose to take it, and then it will end.
Yes, so that's the first junction. So you come to a junction, looking left, you see the 10 metres it ends. You turn right and come to a second junction. So we do have a free choice of left or straight on, but you're right, that is a... It seems unusual for it to give us that hint and it not be a death trap. Mind you, I'm a bit jumpy after the last one. Creature of Havoc was very deadly. Yeah.
Wait, so we passed 3 doors. Then we came to a junction where the options were left and right. Left ends.
We passed
Right
3
takes
doors,
us.
walked around the corner,
Yeah.
saw the 3 doors,
Yeah.
then came to a junction and there was a dead end to the left.
Yeah.
So we turned right, and then at a second junction we could turn left or keep going straight.
I see. That makes more sense. In which case, there's not really much information.
No, there isn't. Do we make
To
this
go
a
on
die
again,
roll?
let's make it die roll.
Okay. Well, why don't you roll this time? I rolled last time.
Okay. What are we saying? 1, 2, and
1, 2,
3
and 3
left?
is left in this case, and 4, 5, and 6
Yeah.
is straight on.
Okay. That's a 1.
A 1. We turn left. Turn to 37. Okay. A few meters up the tunnel, you see 3 doors in the right-hand wall. You walk up to the first door and press your ear against it, but you can hear nothing. The handle turns in your hand. Do we open the door or walk on to the second door? Well, this is a gimme, right?
It's most definitely a door.
It's a door. It's a non-natural door. This is a no-brainer for us. We have
the
to open
first
the door
that we've had, right? That we've had the choice at least to go through.
Yeah, I think so. We had the choice to go down the trap door or not, but it was already open at that point.
That's true. Yeah.
I think we have to open the door. It's who we are.
Yeah.
Okay, we open the door and turn to 389. The room is quite small and its floor is covered in bones, debris and dirt. In the far corner you see a chain which is bolted to the wall. So we can rummage around in the dirt, pull on the chain, or walk on to the second door.
Well.
It's always possible that there's a dragon's tooth hidden in the dirt, isn't there?
Yeah. Yes. I have to admit, I was more keen to find out what that chain does rather than rummage around in the dirt. But your idea is much more sensible than mine.
Well, it's if you're trying to hide dragon's teeth in places that are, not
accessible but well hidden.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Let's give it a go.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome, lollygaggers.
Hey, lollygaggers.
All right, we'll try rummaging around in the dirt. 242. 242 is rummaging around in the dirt. We'll give it a shot.
For lollygaggers' benefit, we are currently in Firetop Mountain for the second time, looking for gold-covered. Was it, Ben? Gold-covered dragon's teeth.
Gold dragon's teeth, yes, with numbers
and
on them, and then
words.
we need a magic word to activate them. Because if we don't have those things, apparently we're doomed. And we've spent most of the book partially doomed, but now we're at the point where we really need to be undoomed at the critical moment. Okay, after 5 minutes spent poking around in the dirt with your sword, you come up with a gold piece, a tin whistle, and an onyx egg.
Oh, so much stuff. Honestly, I'm running out of space.
Tin whistle, onyx egg.
You take the gold coin, for sure, idea.
Okay, all right. I have made a note of gold coin. If you've not done so already, you may tug on the chain, or leave the room and walk to the second door. You wanted to tug on the chain. We now have the chance to tug on the chain.
But something about the way it was written makes me suspicious that we might just die. Who am I kidding? I still want to tug on the chain.
Yeah, let's give it a
As
shot.
long as
We'll
you're all
tug on
right
the
with
chain.
it, then.
332. 332 sounds like a safe number.
Yeah.
Nothing can go wrong at 332, I'm sure. The stone to which the chain is attached starts to move. You pull even harder and the stone comes flying out of the wall, almost knocking you off your feet. You inspect the hole and realise that you've opened up a secret compartment. You try to fit your head through the hole in the wall to see inside the compartment, but your head is too big. Will you put your arm in the compartment or rummage around in the dirt if you haven't done that already, or go on to the second door? Can I just say, Mr. Livingston, for future reference, the order in which I investigate things is shine a light in it first, then put my arm in, then my head. I don't stick my head in as the very first thing I do.
Yours was much cleverer than mine, Ben. I was just going to go with arm and head, but the principle stands, I feel.
So we've tried head, but it doesn't fit. So now we're going to try arm. Okay, we're going to have to stick. I know it's a man-made door, and we're probably doomed.
It's less lethal than sticking your head in.
It is. Yeah, and apparently the only reason we didn't do that was because it didn't fit. So,
Yeah, I mean, if it said you've got the option to stick your head in, I would say no, that is an instant death.
exactly.
An arm, I'm less, I can carry on. I'll walk it off.
We will put our arm into the
an arm.
compartment, turn to 92, and if this is doom, then it's doom. But I feel that's just the way life happens sometimes. You reach down into the compartment until your hand touches a jelly-like substance at the bottom. If you're wearing leather gloves, turn to 178. If not, turn to 377. We do have leather gloves.
We definitely put them on first as well.
Absolutely.
We might not have said it, but...
Yeah. I mean, initially we had them on our head, but then when we discovered our head didn't fit in there, we put them on our hands.
Oddly enough, our head fitted in the gloves.
If you're wearing leather gloves, turn to 178. Oh God.
This has been a journey, this one.
It has. Your fingers feel their way through the jelly at the bottom of the compartment and come into contact with a small cylindrical canister. You lift it out and are surprised to see that your glove is now smouldering. The jelly must have been acidic, you deduce, and it was fortunate you were wearing gloves. Add a luck point.
Ooh.
Do you need a luck point?
I think we both do. Do you
We
want to?
do, but it was your idea to pull on the chain. Also, it's your turn to test luck next. So.
Yeah, I'll take one then in that case, and I'll go to 8.
Excellent.
And I will test next.
You can see that the canister is made of iron and the lid will unscrew. You decide to unscrew the top slowly. As you do so, green smoke starts to creep out. We can throw the canister back through the hole in the wall or continue unscrewing the top. Well, a canister's lid is a sort of a door.
I mean, we've come this far. Although this is the problem that I always have.
I mean, they've literally hidden this in a secret compartment in the wall of a old dungeon cell.
Yeah.
At the bottom of an acidic pile of jelly.
In a room that's got some other stuff hidden in it, so you find that. And...
So either it's some evil spirit that they were so frightened of, they trapped it in a canister and threw it in under that jelly and hid it.
Could be.
Or it's a good thing. I really want to see what happens if we keep unscrewing the top.
Nah, let's do it.
Let's do it. 1, 3, 4.
I didn't need much selling then, I'm going to be honest.
The green smoke continues to escape from the canister, but it does you no harm. It soon disperses and drifts away. Inside, you find a dragon's tooth made of gold. Excellent.
No way.
Yep.
That is very good.
Made of gold with the number 315.
Ooh. Definitely.
Which has the symbol of a heart inside a flaming circle stamped on its base.
315 heart and circle.
Okay. Add a luck point.
Ooh.
Okay.
Well,
I can have a luck
take
point.
That one?
Yeah, that's great. I'll have a luck point. I needed a luck point. After examining it, you place it carefully in your pocket. Add a luck point. If you haven't done so already, you may now rummage around in the dirt. Otherwise, you're left with no choice but to go out of this room and walk on to the second door, turn to 56. That was an extremely successful little dungeon room.
That was. I like it.
Okay. All right. So, you listen intently at the door, but you can hear no sounds coming from the other side. You turn the handle and find that the door is unlocked. If you want to enter the room, turn to 226. If you'd rather walk on to the third door, turn to 273. And I think that's where we should break, actually. I think that's where we should stop for the night. Because it's actually given us the description of where we are again, so we'll catch up again where we stop.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because otherwise we could be at something which doesn't remind us what's going on.
Yeah. It's a good idea. It's I think we've done rather well.
I think we've done amazingly well. I mean, astonishingly well.
We made it to the mountain dungeon. The dungeon in the mountain.
We've made it to Firetop Mountain, which, unlike the first one, it wasn't just you march up to Firetop Mountain and walk in.
Yes, we had the option to dig a little deeper, which I think has benefited us. We know what we're looking for now. We need at least.
We do. I'm genuinely curious. At some point when we finish this, I'm going to have to go back to the beginning and just try going straight to the mountain without messing with all of this wizard stuff and see what happens.
Yeah. I suppose. Well, we did pick up a lot of stuff, and we got some stuff from the shop, which might come in really handy use later.
Well, those leather gloves have already proved their worth.
Yeah, that's true. And first playthrough, you don't know what you're after necessarily.
It's true.
But once you've done it, you kind of do.
The reality is, it was only acidic jelly, so it would probably have just cost us a couple of stamina points, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But even so, it was definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. We are going to pause there, and it'll pause for a little while, because unless we have somebody, and when I say somebody in this case, unless we have Luke back out of one of our planned things going forward shortly, we actually have the next month or so plotted out, don't we?
Indeed. I might have to sabotage Luke though, because that was quite a stopping point.
It was. Quite a cliffhanger. Yeah, it actually was exactly that. It was a bit of a stopping point. But we do have some plans coming up. So next Friday, or this coming Friday, we are going to be playing Traveller, we hope, which should be the heist episode. Because that's where we
Exciting.
left it off, with them about to launch a complicated heist with many moving parts in order to gain access to some logs from a ship. And then on the following day, the 13th, we are playing Metanthropes. Now, this is a game, if you're not familiar with it, which is written by a really wonderful friend of the channel called John Legitimine. And you may, if you watch the channel regularly, have seen John turn up for our Tony and Rudy adventures, because he plays Rudy in those. And he's an absolutely delightful guy. And if you're interested in his new game, which is sort of supernatural superheroes, I don't know exactly how you describe it.
Yeah. There were superpowers involved,
Yeah,
most certainly.
it's a very, very interesting game type, and I hope you will come and join us on Saturday, because John's going to be playing it with us on our stream on the 13th. So until then, thank you very much indeed, everyone who watched live or caught us up on VOD. Ewan, thank you. I really enjoyed this book so far.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. It's been good fun. It's been very different to our first foray into Firetop Mountain. I know we're not very far in yet, but we've come a long way to get here.
It's already been a
It's
journey.
been thoroughly
I feel.
enjoyable. Yeah.
Yes, and we've fallen for a couple of things, and we've survived a couple of things, but we've also achieved a magnificent dragon's tooth and 2 different eggs, a brass one and an onyx one, which I feel have to be important, because they feel
And
like
a
part of
wooden
a
ball.
set, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and a wooden ball, which is kind of egg-shaped.
That's true,
Almost.
a wooden ball. We no longer have a wooden brick, but we do have a wooden ball. Yeah. And a key with the number 142 on it. Oh, and a ring of invisibility. That could be very handy.
Yep.
Okay.
The dragon's tooth has 315. I feel as though the numbers are going to
315
be
and
important at
a
some
heart
point.
and a flaming circle. But we don't know the magic words for them yet, so we need to work that out.
But I've got a good feeling. I've got a good feeling about this one.
I think it's going worryingly well, this one, actually.
Yes.
It
That
has
could
that
be the
feeling
case.
that the rug is just about to be pulled out from underneath us.
Any minute now, yeah.
So, thank you, sir. It's been enormous fun tonight.
Yeah, it has been. Thanks, Ben.
And until next time, until Friday, when hopefully we will be playing some Traveller, I will bid everybody a good night. Good night.
Good night.